It is sentencing day for the man who hit a child while crossing the street, then took off. What the evidence shows and the ultimate takeaway from this case.
San Diego homeowners challenge rising trash fees in court as the trial begins.
The city of La Mesa considering e-bike age restrictions. The final vote tonight.
Working for your wallet, how Memorial Day is going to cost you more this year.
If you've ever been stuck trying to get on the 5 from the 78 in Oceanside, you know the backup. Coming up, the new project aimed at easing congestion and improving traffic safety.
Breaking news tonight, we've just confirmed within the last hour that a jury has been seated in the high-profile murder trial of Larry Millette. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
I'm Stephanie Simmons, in tonight for Marcella. A dozen jurors and 6 alternates were narrowed down from a pool of 180 candidates who faced questions both yesterday and today. The group will now decide the fate of Larry Millette, the man accused of killing his wife, Maya.
She disappeared more than 5 years ago, but her body has never been found. Opening arguments will start Monday, and the trial could last up to 3 months.
You can watch our coverage of the Millette case through the CBS 8 app on your phone or TV. You can stream it anytime for free.
Our other top story, a stiff consequence handed down for the driver convicted of hitting a young boy on the streets of El Cajon and then taking off. 35-year-old Danny Korkis was just sentenced to nearly 5 years in prison.
The judge cited a history of reckless driving. News 8's Jenny Day was there for the court hearing and joins us live with more on this. Jenny.
Yeah, 4 years, 8 months for hitting this 12-year-old boy who has only been identified as Richard G. This happened close to 7 months ago now, so thankfully he is recovering really well. But initially, this child was left with major head trauma, broken arm, leg, and had multiple teeth knocked out, requiring surgery.
This case is truly every parent's worst nightmare.
36-year-old Danny Korkis, guilty of felony hit and run, as well as a separate felony charge of evading police. While handcuffed, wearing a jailhouse jumpsuit, he learned he'll remain in custody for 4 years, 8 months.
Probation denied.
The judge citing a months-long pattern of reckless driving.
Very simple. He was scared. He panicked. Not a day goes by where I don't hear questions and he doesn't ask me to get some feedback as to how the child's doing.
Back in October, around 8 o'clock at night on Ballantyne Street in El Cajon, prosecutors say a 12-year-old boy ran across the street and into the path of Korkis's BMW SUV. He hit the child and fled the scene.
Witness statements indicate that the child actually darted into the roadway outside of the intersection.
The crime in this case is the actual running. So the fact that he did not remain at the scene, that he did not attempt to render aid, that is the crime in this case.
It was one of the city's license plate readers that tracked him down, as well as the damaged SUV. Despite initially trying to say a woman had borrowed his car, El Cajon police say surveillance video from his parents' business, a lakeside smoke shop, shows that he knew he struck something and noticed blood on his hood, but still didn't turn himself in. That family was in the courtroom to support him today.
This was obviously an incredibly traumatizing event. Everybody is so relieved that the minor victim in this case made it, that he's okay, or at least on the mend, I should say. And it's just incredibly important to drive safely.
Yeah, that is certainly the takeaway in this case. And Korkis has been in custody on $1.5 million bail, and now he will just immediately go to start serving that sentence. He has also been ordered to pay restitution to the victim's family. We don't know that amount yet, but it is likely to cover all of those hospital expenses. We are live in El Cajon. Jenny Day, News 8. Stephanie.
All right, Jenny, thank you so much. A group of San Diego homeowners is suing the city over their controversial trash fee.
That fee was approved by voters just a few years ago, but the price for residents has almost doubled since then. News 8's Brian White is live at the downtown courthouse where trial is just getting started. Brian.
Yeah, the trial actually got off to a pretty contentious start today, with attorneys on both sides arguing over who should and should not be allowed to testify.
You cannot adopt this kind of intrusive fee on everybody and then turn around and say, I don't want to really participate. That is part of being an elected official is having to stand up and be held accountable.
Plaintiff's attorney Mike Aguirre arguing that Mayor Gloria and council members Joe LaCava and Sean Elo Rivera should have to take the stand in this case. The defense argued to exclude their testimony.
There were 6 council members who voted in favor of this fee. There were even more who voted in favor of the appropriations ordinance. The fact that they've only chosen these 2 wouldn't even provide you a complete picture of how we ended up here.
The judge ultimately granting the defense's motion to exclude their testimony. However, she denied their attempt to keep the plaintiff's expert witness, someone who used to work in the Environmental Services Department, off the stand.
The proposal said that the fee could not exceed the cost of providing the services.
During his opening statement, Aguirre said when voters approved the trash fee for single-family homes in 2022, the city estimated the service would cost $23 to $29 per month. Once implemented in 2025, the fee grew to nearly double that amount to more than $500 per year, or about $43.60 per month. I talked with one of the plaintiffs, Scott Case.
When the city came out and essentially doubled the prices here, we felt like it was like a bait and switch to cover, the city's budget issues. And so we really need good fiscal management in the city, which is lacking from the entire city leadership there.
Today, attorney Mike Aguirre got through his opening statement and proceeded to put on his first witness in this case. Meanwhile, the defense is saving their opening statement until later on when they can present their case. Reporting live downtown, I'm Brian White, News 8.
Thanks, Brian. If you're shopping for an e-bike on Amazon, your options here in California are shrinking. That's because the retail giant is pulling listings that exceed the state's speed limits. 28 miles per hour for pedal assist bikes and 20 for throttle only. That move comes a month after State Attorney General Rob Bonta issued a consumer safety alert. Members of the San Diego County Bike Coalition say it's a step in the right direction.
We hate looking outside and seeing all of the stories about kids that are riding super dangerously and going way too fast.
The coalition is hoping other retailers follow Amazon's lead. A state bill that would ban manufacturers from marketing high-speed bikes as standard e-bikes is still working its way through the legislature. That comes as right now, La Mesa leaders are set to take another vote tonight on a plan to ban kids under 12 from riding certain e-bikes.
News 8's Steffi Roche joins us live outside that meeting. And Steffi, this is certainly an issue that is stirring up some very strong opinions.
Absolutely. This proposal sparked a heated debate during its last reading. Supporters of an age limit say it's a safety issue, pointing to e-bike injuries among children across San Diego County. But Councilmember Laura Lothian, who originally backed this ordinance, now says she's changed her position after hearing from families who rely on e-bikes to get around town.
Families who moved here so that they could travel to the village and have breakfast, go to the farmer's market, and they're with their 9 and 10-year-olds on these little e-bikes.
If approved, the pilot program starts with 60 days of warnings before fines of $25 kick in. And tonight's vote will be the final vote on this proposal. The meeting started just a few minutes ago at 6 o'clock. We're going to head in there, but we'll have more on the outcome of the vote tonight at 11. But for now, reporting live from La Mesa, I'm Steffi Roche, News 8.
Thank you, Steffi. An Orange County mother is facing more charges after the death of an 81-year-old Vietnam War veteran. Tommy Jo Major is the mother of the 14-year-old boy who hit and killed Ed Ashman with an electric motorcycle. That crash happened April 16th in Lake Forest. Ashman was hospitalized and died weeks later. Major was previously charged with child endangerment. Now she's facing an additional involuntary manslaughter charge. Prosecutors say she was warned last summer about letting her son illegally ride that e-bike.
New signs are now up along the Coronado Bridge bike path showing what a future suicide deterrent fence could look like. The project aims to prevent suicide attempts from the bridge, which is something survivor Steve Bouchard says would have changed his life decades ago. He jumped from that bridge back in 1987 and suffered severe injuries. He says he immediately regretted his decision.
But to have a barrier like that and the design that they've come up with, I feel very confident that it will prevent future attempts.
Construction on the stainless steel mesh barrier is expected to start later this year. If you or someone you know is struggling, call or text the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. Tonight, San Diego Unified is reversing course and saving dozens of jobs in the process.
69 classified employees, many of them para-educators who work with special education students, were at risk of losing their positions. District leaders say they found vacant roles and will retrain staff to fill them, often at higher pay, while keeping fully paid benefits. The board will honor these workers during Classified School Employees Week. That's next week. An iconic San Diego restaurant is once again serving up some fan favorites.
And there was a long line to get in. We're going to show you still ahead. Plus, local officials announce a patriotic party with an emphasis on your rights.
And Memorial Day is right around the corner, and celebrations will likely cost you more this year. Tonight, we're working for your wallet, breaking down what you can expect to pay.
Past couple of days, we've had a whole lot of inland heat. Also talked about the sunshine, but that was not the case for today. Marine layer was in full force with May-grade conditions still out there, and also much cooler temperatures, especially inland. We'll take a look at your complete forecast coming up.